The ones that migrate are the ones with better opportunities already in the country. They are daring because they wanted to take advantage of better opportunities that they can see outside of the country. And they are being replaced in their old positions by people who previously were unemployed or underemployed. Of course, there are some of them, we cannot say that, we cannot totally ignore, that there are those who are forced into migration, especially those in the more vulnerable occupation, like household helpers, entertainers, a number of jobs in the Middle East. But even for household workers, the complexion of overseas employment is changing. Dati nga yung mga diplomats, nahihiya pag sinabing, uy, lalapitan ng ibang diplomats, sabihin sa kanila, pwede bang tulungan nyo kami mag-hire ng household helpers? When I was in Tokyo, I was telling the other diplomats, I am not ashamed of our household workers. Because let me tell you a point I said, if we pull out all the Filipino household service workers in Tokyo, do you realize that all the embassies in Tokyo will stop? Because practically all the drivers of the ambassadors, all the chambermaids, all the cooks, they will not be able to hold diplomatic functions. If they hold all the diplomatic functions in the hotels, the diplomatic establishments will go bankrupt. So I said, I am proud of our household service workers. And things are changing. The complexion of overseas employment is also changing. You notice that the Department of Labor adopted a new policy on the minimum wage for household service workers. Initially, this is hurting some OFWs in low-paid countries. But more and more, I have seen a report of labor attaché Rustico de la Puente in Saudi Arabia. And he said that the employers are now beginning to appreciate that policy and the fact that the Filipino household service workers, even in Saudi Arabia, have value-added work that they are now appreciating. Minsan yata, ganun talaga buhay, no? Pagka mura yung produkto, tinetake for granted natin. Pero pag bigla mong tinaas yung presyo, biglang ma-realize nila, ba, mas mahusay nga pala yung produkto niya kaysa doon sa mga mumurahin. So now that policy is changing. Even the entertainment sector in Japan, I'm sorry, I'm going to talk more about Korea and Japan, where I have more intimate knowledge about, because I was labor attaché in Korea from 2001 to 2004, and to Japan in 2004 to 2007. In Japan, dun sa entertainment field, for example, dati, tayo yung pinakamaraming entertainers, about 82,000. Nag-deteriorate yung quality ng entertainment to the point na ginagamit yung mga kababayan natin iba for jobs that are not authorized. Ang entertainer kasi talagang performance lang yan, singing and dancing. But the moment you start serving customers, which we call hostessing, hindi naman prostitution, hostessing, that's already prohibited in Japan. So ngayon, bumabayan down to about 6,000 entertainers na lang tayo. But we develop new programs like the Utawid. Yung Uta is the Japanese word for song, and Awid is of course our own Tagalog word for song. Yung nananalo natin ngayon sa Utawid, the last winner also participated in the Tokyo Karaoke Grand Prix, and she won second place. Napanalunan lang naman niya isang 65-inch Apus Color TV, which I understand in the Philippines would be worth about 200, di lang nata 200,000, mga 500,000 pesos, plus 500,000 yen. So, ino-operan din siya ngayon ng recording contract sa Japan. So, we are trying to transform the entertainment field into what it should really be. Pero hindi yung pang pinagmamalaki ko sa Japan. Sabi ko, alam niyo ba na merong isang bansa sa mundo na kayang pilayin ng Japan without doing anything? Alam ba ninyo? Hindi nyo alam siguro yan, ano? Merong isang bansa, ayaw pilayin ng Japan without doing anything. And that is the Philippines. Why do I say so? Japan is about 2,000 cargo vessels going in and out of Japan. Kasi ang Japan dependent for raw materials and oil from other countries, rare metals from China. Tapos, kailangan naman niya i-export yung produkto niya para manatili siya maunlad. Japan is about 2,000 ships, only 190 of them carry the Japanese flag. The other carry flag of conveniences. And out of those numbers, alam niyo ba kung ilan na ang seafarers na hapon ngayon? You probably don't know. It's about 2,000 Japanese. 2,000 Japanese manning more than 2,000 ships. Within the next 3 years, they are expanding the shipping industry by about 40% for another 800 vessels. And guess what? They will need about 27,000 new seafarers, and they intend to get 80% of them from the Philippines. Right now, the share of the Philippines in the Japanese seafaring industry, active yung sa dagat, is more than 71%. Mahigit tayong 27,000. So pag yung mga 27,000 mga seafarers na yun natulog, that means they did nothing. The Japanese economy is going to be paralyzed for a few weeks at least. And it will have a tremendous impact. So, gusto ninyo yung mga anak ninyo, pag-aralin ninyong mag-seafaring na ngayon, because in the next 3 to 4 years, 3 to 5 years, that will be the boom industry for Japan. And that's why the Department of Labor also established a maritime office to encourage those who will take maritime work from high school. Tapos, dati ang reputasyon ng seafaring, maiksing career lang ito. Pagkatapos mong siguro mabot ka ng 50 years old or 55, retired ka na. Hindi ka na pwede sa dagat. It will be risky for you. Pero yung pong bumababang mga Pilipino from the ships are now running the shipping company from the ground. Quality control, assurance ng safety and standards, compliance with international standards, yun po yung trabaho ng mga Pilipino ngayon. There is a group called the Filipino Maritime Network. Tumutulong sila ngayon sa amin to gather yung second-hand manuals and materials na huli lamang sa Japan by about 1 year, pero mas advanced kaysa sa mga anything available in our maritime schools. And they are going to send that to the Philippines for free. Ang hinihingi lang nilang tulong sa atin ay tayo na ang bahala sa taxes at saka dun sa shipping. They will make those materials available to all the shipping schools in the Philippines. And the 3 biggest maritime companies in Japan, NYK, Mitsui OSK, and K-Line, they are all establishing their schools in the Philippines. NYK is giving about 60 scholarships every year sa Kanlubang. Mitsui OSK has just donated its a ship, training ship to the Philippines. And one of the best, if not the best, maritime schools in the world today is the Maritime Academy for Asia and the Pacific in Bataan. Pag pumunta po kayo ron, para kayong pumasok sa first class na LNG tanker or gas tanker or oil tanker sa Japan. Ganun po ka-sophisticated yung eskwelahan. Sweldo pinag-uusapan natin. Nabanggit kanina ni Commissioner, ang sweldo ay yung napupunta sa mga OFW, mga 6,000 plus na household income. Si seafarers po, yung mga ratings, able-bodied, mga $500, $600 a month na yan. Kung opisyalis yan sa Japan, ang usual na sweldo ng opisyalis is between $4,000 to $7,000 a month. And after their first contract, they are piloted by European companies, and they are offered anywhere between $7,000 to $10,000 a month. So ganyan po yung nagbabagong shift ng overseas employment. Gusto ninyo ng inhinyero, within the next 3 years, about 1.16 million supervisors are going to retire in Japan. And people don't know how to replace them. Ang problema lang natin, yung mga Pilipino gustong pumasok kahit na paanong pasok. Eh hindi po, ang policy po ng migration